Zilla Fatu has been in WWE for 4 days, and somehow this man has already walked into Next, destroyed the #1 contender match, stared directly at the Yank's champion, and basically told everybody in the building, "I'm coming for that title." And then WWE put the footage online, and it reportedly passed 16 million views across WWE's platforms in less than a day. 16 million for an X debut. So what exactly did WWE just unleash on X? Because I think Zilla Fatu's arrival might be a lot bigger than just another new wrestler showing up. What's up, everybody? I'm James, and you're watching Wrestling Realm Unplugged. And if you missed Tuesday night's NXT, man, I almost wish I could have seen everybody's faces in that building in real time. Because the main event was already important. Cruz Montana was facing Grayson Waller in a #1 contender match. The winner was supposed to earn a shot at Tony D'Angelo's NXT Championship at Heatwave. This wasn't some random match thrown onto the end of the show. There was a championship opportunity sitting right there. And then, Zilla Fatu showed up. He attacked Cruz Montana. Then he went after Grayson Waller. The referee had no choice but to stop the match, and the entire championship situation was thrown into chaos. But James, he didn't stop there. Zilla turned toward Tony D'Angelo, and he made it very clear that he wanted the next championship. He even called himself the new sheriff in town. Cage-side seats for pro wrestling fans, bro. You couldn't have written a louder introduction if you tried. He didn't come into X asking where the locker room was. He came in and basically said, "Where's the champion? Why WWE put him in X?" And this is where I think the move gets really interesting, because Zilla Fatu could have been introduced on the main roster. He could have walked onto SmackDown. He could have shown up next to one of the Bloodline members. Everybody would have immediately understood the family connection. Zilla is the son of the late Umaga, and he's part of the famous Samoan wrestling family that includes names like Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Jacob Fatu. He's also only 26 years old, which means WWE isn't bringing in some veteran for one final run. They're looking at somebody who could potentially be around for a very long time. And WWE has been rebuilding NXT's men's division. Obafemi moved on. Trick Williams moved on. Other names have shifted around. Then WWE brings in Cruz Montana and brings Grayson Waller back into the angst picture. And suddenly, Zilla Fatu. That's not an accident. That's WWE putting another major piece onto the board. The New York Post even described his arrival as the finishing touch to Next's recent roster overhaul. NYPost.com, and honestly, I like it. Because Zilla doesn't need to be rushed to the main roster. Let Next become his territory. Let him prove that the Fatu name isn't the only reason people are watching. Zilla has something to prove. Because let's be honest, being Umaga's son comes with an enormous advantage, but it also comes with an enormous expectation. People are going to compare him to his father. They're going to compare him to Jacob Fatu. They're going to compare him to Solo. They're going to look at the Samoan Spike. They're going to look at his size. They're going to look at the family tree and immediately start talking about the bloodline. And that's where Zilla has to be careful. Because I don't want WWE to look at him and say, "Okay, another Fatu, put him in the bloodline." No, let this guy become Zilla Fatu first. His independent career gave him experience before WWE. He worked with Reality of Wrestling and made appearances for promotions including GCW and House of Glory before finally making his WWE move. Cage-side seats for pro wrestling fans, so there is already a story there. He isn't some guy who woke up yesterday and decided he wanted to become a wrestler because his family is famous. He's been working toward this. And now he's finally here. But Zilla just made 3 enemies. And this is where WWE has a really easy story sitting right in front of them. Think about what Zilla actually did. He ruined Cruz Montana's championship opportunity. He ruined Grayson Waller's championship opportunity. And then he walked straight toward Tony D'Angelo, the champion. So you've got 3 guys who have a reason to want Zilla's head. And Waller is already talking. After the debut, Grayson Waller took a shot at Zilla on social media, calling him another overrated use. Cage-side seats for pro wrestling fans. Oh, Waller. You really want to do this? Because Zilla is exactly the kind of guy I would not recommend insulting 5 minutes after he just threw you around. That's like seeing a bear in the woods and going, "Your fur looks stupid. Why are we doing this?" But that's what makes it fun. Waller has the mouth. Zilla has already shown he doesn't mind using his hands. Give me that feud. Now let's talk about that number. Because WWE's social media footage of Zilla's debut reportedly passed 16 million views in under 15 hours. 16 million. That's an enormous number for a debut coming out of NXT. NYPost.com, and before somebody says, James, those are social media views, not television viewers. Yes, exactly. I'm not saying 16 million people watched NXT live. I'm saying 16 million plus views of the debut footage tells WWE that people are interested in seeing what happens next. That's the part WWE should pay attention to. Because you can have a huge entrance. You can get a loud reaction. But if people keep clicking the footage afterward, that's when you've got something. And Zilla's debut clearly got people talking. Now, I know what you're thinking. James, when is Roman getting involved? I don't know, and that's exactly why I don't want WWE to rush it. Imagine Zilla spends 6 months in NXT. He becomes a major star. Maybe he wins the next championship. Maybe he has a war with Zilla Fatu somewhere down the road. Maybe he builds a completely separate identity. Then, Roman Reigns walks into the picture. Now you've got something. Because suddenly the family connection isn't the entire story, it's a new chapter. And if WWE eventually wants Zilla involved with the bloodline, that option isn't going anywhere. But right now, give the kid the keys to NXT and let him drive. If you're still watching, you're clearly invested in Zilla Fatu's WWE run. So hit that like button, subscribe to Wrestling Realm Unplugged, and stay with us. Because I have a feeling this story is about to get a whole lot crazier. The next championship is the real story. Here's what I want to see next. WWE now has a championship match that was supposed to be decided by Cruz Montana and Grayson Waller. Zilla destroyed both of them. So what happens now? Do you give the title opportunity back to Montana? Do you give Waller another chance? Do you put Zilla into the championship picture immediately? Or do you put all of them together? Because a fatal four-way involving Tony D'Angelo, Zilla Fatu, Cruz Montana, and Grayson Waller would be absolute chaos. And that's exactly why I want it. Zilla doesn't need to win the championship immediately. Actually, I'd be perfectly happy if he doesn't. Let him get close. Let him show everybody that he belongs. Then when the moment finally comes, boom, that's when you pull the trigger. Zilla Fatu's WWE debut was supposed to introduce a new wrestler. Instead, WWE may have introduced the next major angst attraction. He walked in. He wrecked the #1 contender match. He stared down the champion. He called himself the new sheriff. And millions of people clicked to see it. So I'm asking you, should Zilla Fatu get an immediate shot at Tony D'Angelo's next championship, or should WWE make him earn his way there first? I want your answer in the comments. Hit like, subscribe to Wrestling Realm Unplugged, and stay locked in. I'm James. I'll see you in the next one.